Here I am trying to explain the concept of line integral, surface integral and volume integral. Now line integral I will explain using this example. Here one function is given. So function f is equal to x square ax minus xz ay y square az, where ax, ay, az are unit vectors. So this is a function, and we are going to find we are going to define line integral. Line integral that is through the path, or if it is a closed path, then line integral is a counter closed path. So here it is I want to explain using a cube. Now here cube is given, so one segment is along the x-axis, second along the y-axis, third along the z-axis, and we are going to find the line integral considering the path 1, 2, 3, 4, and since it is a closed path, again it is coming to the initial point, so it becomes a closed path. So why it is called line integral? So line indicates a path. Now here it is mentioned that path is a straight line, but it is not necessary. But because in this example it is a straight line, but not necessary that always it is a straight line. It can be a curve, any type of curve, and that means line indicates a path. So line is a path along a curve in a space. Space means in the it is you can specify it in 3 coordinate axes. So this is the space. In that space, this cube is there with these lines, or it's called path. And here we are going to find the line integral. So line integral is the integral of the tangential component of A along curve L. So here all lines are straight lines. So here it is not necessary to find a tangent, but if it is a curve, because it is a path, means it can be a curve. In this example it is not a curve, but there may be some example where it is a curve. So that time you are going to find the tangent at each point, and that will become a path along a curve, and then you are going to define a line integral. Now here while solving the problems, you are going to find the integration of a dot dl. What is a? A is nothing but a function, and dl is nothing but a smallest part of the segment, that is the infinitesimal small path along that curve. So a dot dl will be the integral. So here now while solving the problems, so this integral is divided into 4 parts, since there are 4 segments, segment 1, 2, 3, 4, and all are integrated. Here I define line integral again. The line integral a dot dl along path L is the integral of the tangential component. So here it is there are segments, but there can be a curve. Hence tangential component of A is a function along curve L. So function f is already given. So for segment 1, you can write y is equal to 0, z is equal to 0. See the diagram and you will come to know that here y is equal to 0 and z is equal to 0. Hence f is equal to x square ax minus xz ay minus y square az. So you will get x square az by putting the value of y is equal to 0 and z is equal to 0. dl we have already defined. dl is equal to dx ax, dy ay and dz az. So when you find the dot product f dot dl, you will get only x square dx, and once you integrate you will get minus 1 by 3. So this is along the segment 1. Similarly here we solve for segment 2, where x is equal to 0, z is equal to 0. You can check the diagram. Function is written, so you will get only minus y square az. dl is equal to dy az, and f dot dl you will get 0. For segment 3 again y is equal to 1. Function you will get x square minus ax minus xz ay minus hz, and dl is equal to dx ax dz az. f dot dl, if you find the integration along path 3, you will get x square dx minus dz, and when you solve the integration by putting z is equal to x and dx is equal to dz, you will get with respect to x, that is 2 by 3. So here we solve for segment 4 and I got 5 by 6, and after putting all together, that is all 4 paths I added, and I got minus 1 by 6. So in the last slide, I explained line integral, that is f dot dl. So it is a tangential component we integrated along a path, and when it is a closed path, that time counter integral we are finding. So here it is a surface integral. So when there is a closed path, that will become a surface. Now here, for example, a flux, when a current passing, there will be a flux. So now here we consider vector field A. So A is a vector field because of that closed path L. Now this field is continuous in a region containing the smooth surface S. So S is a smooth surface because of path L, and we define the surface integral. So surface integral is defined uh, 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 as an integral of A dot an ds. So what is an? An is the normal to the surface, and what is ds? Ds is the small component, because S is a plane. In that plane, a small infinitesimal component. So we are considering infinitesimal component in case of line integral, surface integral, and again in volume integral also. So it is a small surface we are considering, and an is a normal to that surface, that is ds. So in case of line integral, we define dl. Now here in case of surface integral, we define ds, and an is a normal to that path. So finding the dot product, here it is a dot ds. So an, that is the magnitude of an, is 1. So a dot ds you will get. So we will require to find here a dot ds. This is the example based on gradient. Now gradient, as you know, we define this gradient using a del operator. Now in this example, w, that is the function, is given x square y square plus xyz, and we need to find, so this is the function of that plane, and we need to find a gradient of w and a directional derivative. As you know, directional derivative is a vector. So directional derivative dw by dl in the direction of, so directional derivatives, so it requires a direction, and it is through a point, that is 2 minus 1 0. That is the numerical problem. So given is w, then dw by dl, that is the directional derivative you have to find, and the direction in which that directional derivative is, that is given by 3ax 4ay 12az, and the point through which that vector is passing is 2 minus 1 and 0. So naturally we require to find the gradient of w using del w. So del w we already defined, del we have defined, and w is given. So del by w by del by x dx, del by w by del by y dy, del by w by del by z dz, that is after finding the gradient of w, that is del w. So del w you will get from the equation after finding the partial derivative, and then you find the value at 2 minus 1 0. So you will get gradient of w as 4ax minus 8ay minus 2az. Hence dw by dl is equal to gradient of w dot an. So find so gradient of w dot dl is the directional derivative. We have already defined it in the previous lecture. So gradient of w dot dl, if you find the dot product, you will get 44 by 13. So this problem is looks like a geometry problem, but this is not the only geometry problem. Here intersect between ellipsoid and straight line we have to find out, and then angle you have to derive from that intersect. So to find the intersect, what we have will require is, will require to find the gradient. So the gradient once calculated, then find the divergence using the divergence vector, and then you will be able to calculate the angle. So here first lambda is the parameter which is assumed, and since we assume lambda as a parameter, we'll get the equation r lambda is equal to 2 lambda ax, 2 lambda ay, and lambda az. So by putting x is equal to y is equal to 2z, as it is given, and by putting the value of x is equal to 2 lambda, y is equal to 2 lambda, and z is equal to lambda, we get this equation in terms of r lambda. Now since it is intersection is asked, so when it is intersecting point, so I will put this equation in the ellipsoid equation. So I will get lambda is equal to plus or minus 1. If I consider lambda is equal to 1, then I will get point of intersection x, y, z, that is equal to 2 to 1. So at this point r is equal to, from the equation for r lambda, I will get r1 is equal to 2ax, 2ay plus az. Now the surface of the ellipsoid is defined as x square plus y square plus 2z square minus 10. Now I will find the gradient of f, so that is del f. So when I find the del f, I will get 2x as, 2y ay, 4z az, and hence at 2 to 1 I will get del f is equal to 4ax plus 4ay plus 4az. Now I will find the divergence. So here I calculated an, that is a unit vector, so del f divided by magnitude of del f. So I will get, since 4 is the common, I can directly write ax plus ay plus az divided by root 3. So I will get normal vector, and if I find the dot product an dot r divided by magnitude of an dot r, I will get 5 divided by 3 root 3, and hence using the trigonometry I will get psi is equal to, angle is equal to 74.21 degree. Now here because we had choice that either I will take plus 1 or a minus 1 for lambda, there are actually 4 possible angles I will get, so that is plus or minus 5, 3, root 3. So these are the 4 possibilities. Now here divergence of a vector and curl of a vector. Now what do you mean by divergence and what do you mean by curl? So divergence means spread out. So see, if you see the diagram, you will come to know what is the positive divergence. From the point all vectors are spread out, so it is positive divergence. It is inward towards the point, so it is negative divergence, and it is not spread out, then it is zero divergence. So here divergence of a vector A at a given point P is the outward flux per unit value as the volume shrinks about P. So mathematically you can say the divergence of A is equal to limit delta V tends to 0. So delta V is a small increasable volume, so it's a point, so it is a small volume, so from that point the vectors are spreads. So how to find the integration of A dot ds divided by delta V when delta V tends to 0 but not equal to 0, so it's a point charge. So where delta V is the volume enclosed by the closed surface S in which P is located. So this is using the diagram you will come to know what is the divergence. In the next slide equations are written for divergence of A in different coordinate system, that is 3 coordinate system. One is a Cartesian coordinate system, cylindrical coordinate system, and spherical coordinate system. And then we are going to derive this formula, that is divergence of r bar divided by r cube, the magnitude of r cube, you will get 0. Then curl of gradient of f, that is equal to 0, and divergence of curl of u is equal to 0. So to derive this equation you should understand what is the curl. So once you understand the divergence and curl, then you will be able to derive these equations. So for at least for this slide you should know, you should be able to understand what you mean by divergence, and remember the diagram. Then from the diagram and this equation you will understand what is the divergence of a vector. Here we define divergence of A in three different coordinate systems. Now the basic formula for divergence of A is divergence of A is equal to limit delta V tends to 0. Delta V is a small imperceptible volume. So limit delta V tends to 0, integration, that is the counter integration, that is for closed path, and because of that there is a surface. So counter integration A dot ds divided by delta V. Again I will repeat, limit delta V tends to 0, counter integration A dot ds divided by delta V. So in next few chapters we are going to study Maxwell's equations. Maxwell's equations are the fundamental equations to understand electromagnetic engineering. Let U bar is equal to U1. So it has three components, one in I direction, second in J direction, third in K directions. And all are functions of X, Y, Z because we have considered X, Y, Z axis. Now find the divergence of U. So as you know, divergence means del operator. So del operator is defined as I deba by deba x, J deba by deba y plus K deba by deba z. And U bar, it is written as U1 I bar, U2 J bar and U3 K bar. So when you solve this equation, you will get deba U1 by deba x plus deba U2 by deba y plus deba U3 by deba z. Now divergence of R bar, when you find R bar is equal to xi bar, yj bar, zk bar. So del operator, when you write, you will get deba by deba x, deba y by deba y plus deba z by deba z, that is equal to 3. Now del R bar divided by R bar cube, these equations we are going to derive. So why we are considering this equation? Because these equations indicate an electric field from a point charge. So when you solve these equations, you will get 0. So that indicates that divergence of this vector field at a point charge is 0. So we are going to study afterwards these equations when we start actual electric field in electromagnetic engineering. That time we are going to use this equation. So here always remember that del operator, when you operate, that is divergence of R bar divided by mod of R cube is equal to 0. So divergence of this equation is 0, and that is nothing but related with point charge. Here there is an explanation for curl of A. P is a point charge. Now here one is a rotational field is shown, that is a swirling motion. So when swirling motion is there, it is called as curl. Curl of A is exist. So if A is a vector field, then curl of A exists when there is a swirling motion or when it is a rotational motion. So when rotational is there, rotational field is there, we can say that curl of A exists, and whose magnitude is the maximum circulation of A per unit area as the area tends to 0. So now curl of A is defined like when we define a divergence, that time also we find limit. So here also limit is found, that is the delta S tends to 0. Now in case of divergence, limit was limit delta V tends to 0. That is a small point. Here since it is the curl is a rotational field, there is a space, so there is a surface, so definitely we find a limit when delta S tends to 0 but not equal to 0. So delta S tends to 0. Again here this is related with a loop, so integration around the loop, that is A dot dl divided by delta S. So here curl of A is equal to, this is a basic formula, limit delta S tends to 0, circular integration around loop L, A dot dl divided by delta S, and An is the normal to the surface. So this is related with surface. So remember the difference between divergence and curl. When we find divergence, we are taking a limit considering delta V tends to 0. Now in the curl, we are taking limit delta S tends to 0, but that is not equal to 0. Now here U bar is defined, and then curl of U, how to calculate. So since it is a cross product, we have to define it using a matrix. So in the previous two slides, we have defined divergence, gradient, and curl. Now here using this, you can derive these equations, that is curl of gradient of f, and we get it 0. Similarly, divergence of curl of u, that is vector field, that is equal to 0. So we can say that the curl of gradient of a function f is equal to 0, and divergence of curl of a vector field is equal to 0. Here we will define the Stokes theorem. Stokes theorem states that the circulation of a vector field A around a closed path L is equal to the surface integral of the curl of A over the open surface S bounded by L, provided A and delta curl A are continuous on S. So here two diagrams are shown. There is a closed path L, and because of closed path there is a surface S. ds is a small infinitesimal area, and normal to the small infinitesimal area is shown here, that is a vector. Then there is a small infinitesimal length, that is dl. So we'll solve this using Stokes theorem. Now in the left hand side of the equation you will find a dot dl. So we have already defined line integral. So line integral a dot dl. See the second diagram. Here you will be able to calculate a dot dl, and then at the right hand side you will find the surface area. So here you will find that there is a cancellation on every interior path. So interior path, if you see, there are two vectors in the opposite direction because we consider the circulation, and hence there is a cancellation of the vector, and therefore you will get the vectors at the outer point, so bounding the curve L. So here we can define that the right hand side by integration to the surface curl of A. So curl of A, that is the A is the we have already defined that is a vector field. Now this is a closed vector field. So curl of A, and with respect to small infinitesimal area, so curl of A dot ds is equal to A dot dl. So the one is a line integral, second is the surface integral. So that is equal. So here loop because of closed path L there is a dot dl, that is line integral, and second is the because of closed path there is a surface, and hence curl of a dot ds. So both curl and divergence are used here, and Stokes theorem is defined. So again I will repeat the Stokes theorem. It states that the circulation of a vector field A around a closed path L, so it is about a closed path, not an interior path. Closed path L is equal to the surface integral of the curl of A over the open surface, again the outer surface of S bounded by L, provided A and curl of A are continuous on S. There is one more operator called as Laplacian operator, Laplacian of a scalar field. So we will define plus Laplacian for a scalar field, a single operator that is composite of gradient and divergence. So here we are going to use gradient as well as divergence. So equation is written, Laplacian of V is equal to divergence of gradient V. Always we denote a scalar field by V and vector field by A. So here it is about the scalar field. So divergence of gradient of V. So here you can write it as a del square V. Now del square you can write uh, deba by deba x x, deba by deba y ay, deba by deba z az, and again V as when you write gradient of V, that time you will get deba V by deba x as, deba V by deba y ay, and deba V by deba z az. So finally you will get deba 2V by deba x square, deba 2V by deba y square plus deba 2V by deba z square. So Laplacian of a scalar field is another scalar field. Here we will define Laplacian of a vector field. Since the Laplacian operator del square is a scalar operator, it is also possible to define the Laplacian of a vector. So here we define Laplacian of a vector, and Laplacian of a vector can be written as gradient of divergence of A minus curl of A. Now here there is a classification of vector field. Now from the diagram you will come to know what is the difference. So in the first diagram, divergence of A is equal to 0. There is no divergence, no outgoing vectors from a point. So divergence of A is equal to 0. Rotation is not there. So curl of A is equal to 0. In the second diagram, divergence is exists. So divergence of A is not equal to 0. But rotation is not exist. So curl of A is equal to 0. In the third diagram, there is a rotation. So curl of A is not equal to 0. But divergence of A, there is no vectors which is moving away from a point. So divergence of A is equal to 0. And the last diagram, divergence of A is not equal to 0 because all points, even though they are not in one direction, but they are moving outward, and hence divergence of A is not equal to 0. And there is rotation, slight rotation is there. So even though all vectors are not in the in one directional of rotation, but still there is a rotating field, and hence curl of A is not equal to 0. So from this diagram you will come to know what is when to say divergence of A and curl of A is equal to 0 and not equal to 0. A vector field A is said to be solenoidal or divergenceless when divergence of A is equal to 0, and a vector field A is said to be irrotational or potential. So this is important word. When it is irrotational, it is a potential. So when rotation is not there, when curl of A is equal to 0, there is a potential. Now here about the irrotational field. Now irrotational means what? The field which is not rotational, or where the curl free vector exists. So curl free means curl of a vector function is equal to 0. So if I write Stokes theorem, then mathematical statement is integration of curl of A dot ds is equal to line integral A dot dl. So that is equal to 0 when curl free vector exists. Now examples of irrotational fields include the electrostatic field and the gravitational field. So where potential is exist. Now if it is a scalar field, we can prove easily because we know the definition of del, and using that if I find the curl, so to solve this equation, curl of gradient of V will require to write a determinant, and if you solve the determinant you will get 0. Hence curl of gradient of V is equal to 0. In previous slides we have already proved this equation by writing the determinant. So curl of gradient of V is equal to 0. Again from the Stokes theorem, and since the field is irrotational, we are writing that curl of A is equal to 0. So if you compare these two equations, you will find, so purposely the characters are written in red color. So if you compare these two equations, curl of gradient of V is equal to 0 and curl of A is equal to 0, you can write that A is equal to gradient of V. So A is equal to gradient of V. Here minus sign is written because we are doing the work in opposite to the potential, and that we will see later. but A is equal to gradient of V, and here minus sign is purposely written, which indicates the direction. So here once we got this equation, A is equal to minus of gradient V. So A is a vector potential is equal to gradient of, so minus of gradient of V, that is a scalar potential. Now we'll use this formula to solve some numerical equations. What it indicates is a potential. So this is one numerical problem. You have to prove that vector field A is conservative if A possesses one of these properties. First property is that the line integral of the tangential component of A along a path extending from a point P to a point Q is independent of the path. And the second is the line integral of the tangential component of A around any closed path is 0. So what is the meaning of this? So line integral, as you know, is any curve is nothing but a path, and we are finding the tangential component at each point, and then we are finding the integral. So here we can say that since the vector field A is conservative, so there exists a potential. Why? Because when the field is conservative, now the vector field is conservative means what? Vector field is conservative means curl of A is equal to 0. So curl of A is equal to 0 naturally means curl is equal to 0. That means there is no rotation, so there exists a potential. That is the meaning. So when there is a potential, we can write that gradient of V. So whenever there is a potential term comes, we can write that A is equal to, so A vector field is equal to minus of gradient V. So A is equal to minus of gradient V. Now how we can write? A is equal to minus of gradient V. So minus in the bracket d by V by d by x ax, d by V by d by y ay, plus d by V by d by z az. And x, y, z can be the general function of some variable s. So we can also write that if it is a xy plane, then parametric equation you can write x is equal to p cos theta, y is equal to p sin theta, and hence you can write d by v by d by theta is equal to d by v by d by x by d by theta, plus d by v by d by y is equal to dy by d theta. Again I will repeat, dv by d theta is equal to d by v by d by x dx by d theta, plus d by v by d by y dy by d theta, and theta is again variable because of parametric equation. So I can write the line integral. So line integral I want to find from P to Q. So line integral from P to Q, and A dot dl is equal to, so integral P to Q A dot dl is equal to minus of, so gradient of V, that I can write as minus integration from P to Q is equal to d by V by d by x dx, plus d by V by d by y dy, d by V by d by z dz. And if I integrate this, so with respect to ds, if I integrate, then this equation will become d by v by d by x dx by ds, d by v by d by y dy by ds, plus d by v by d by z dz by ds into bracket ds. Again I repeat, minus integration of P to Q d by v by d by x by d by s, plus d by v by d by y dy by ds, plus d by v by d by z dz by ds, and complete bracket into ds. So I will get dv by ds. So minus of integration from P to Q, that is dv by ds into ds is equal to, ds get cancelled, so minus of integration P to Q dv. So now I will put the points, that is P and Q. So it will become integration P to Q A dot dl is equal to Vp, V is a potential at P minus potential at Q. So when so here we come to know that the first property that is proved, that is the line integral independent of the path, how it is moving. It is independent of that, but it depends upon the 2 points, 2 endpoints, that is P and Q. And if if it is a closed path, that means P is equal to Q. So here, since Vp minus Vq is the equation we derived, so naturally the second is also second property is also proved, that is the line integral of the tangential component of A around any closed path. So when initial point and end point is same, it is 0, because Vp, potential at P minus potential at Q, is equal to 0, because the points are same.